Welcome back, everybody. Steven here, Northwest Small Batch Brewing. Man, I grabbed a beer for the video today, and it's squishy. And I did check the others. I have like three more, something like that. They all do seem squishy, so I don't see any leaks around the can seam. But let's see if I get any. Ooh, not much hiss at all. I'm not even going to try to pour this nicely because I'm a little nervous. Not much head retention. It's coming up a little bit. February of 2026, and this is, what are we in now? April? So, I mean, that's not terrible. All right, well, we'll give it a go. This is Sun River Brewing. They're hazy. One of their hazies, anyway. All right, let's get going. So today's video, I was thinking about this the other day. Well, I cleaned my glasses during the video. This is great content. I have these kegs. I have two kegs, like standard corny kegs, in my garage that are put away for storage because I just don't use them anymore. I use these all-rounders now. But anyway, it got me thinking, like, I don't think, except for the keg that I bought used, and I did a whole video on that. If you're interested, I kind of determined that you might as well just buy a new one because once you buy all new parts, you know, and O-rings and stuff for the used keg, you haven't really saved a whole lot of money, to be honest. You might as well spend an extra like $20, just get the brand new one. Anyway, that's not today's topic. Today's topic is how often do you or should you replace your O-rings on your kegs? Cheers. Well, it's carbonation, doesn't taste infected and moldy or anything. So anyway, so the short answer is you should probably replace all your O-rings every 12 to 24 months. Personally, I'm going to start doing it every 12 months. Honestly, what made me think of this is that I've had my all-rounders, various time frame, because I bought one, then I bought another one like a year later, and then I bought another one. So, but I mean, I've never changed the O-rings on those, ever. So I do clean them vigorously, and I take the O-rings off and put them through cleaning and sanitation, but I don't replace them. So let's get into that. So the O-rings on your kegs have a shelf life. They don't last forever, kind of like windshield wipers on your cars, right? They seem to work and you just leave them and you just don't want to spend the money on replacing them, but eventually they break down, they stop being very effective, and you kind of have to replace them, right? It's the same kind of like idea with an O-ring. The materials break down, they can get brittle. Beyond shelf life, O-rings wear out from use, right? Just from the chemicals you use to clean them, right? Even compatible materials will break down given excessive exposure to things like Star San. Remember, Star San's an acid. So you need to sanitize them, but it does affect the lifespan of your O-rings. And let's be honest, I'd have to check, but a set of O-rings really is not that expensive. I plan to order at least one set on my next beer order, and then I'm going to do it in the next couple, so I can replace all the O-rings on all of my all-rounders over the next 3 months. All right, how do you make your O-rings last longer, right? Can you stretch that time? I'm not sure you can stretch the time because at some point, here's the problem. You're going to go from having O-rings that work to O-rings that failed. There's not going to be an in-between. You're not going to be like, oh, they're starting to show wear, I should replace them. There's no in-between usually. It's either they're working fine or, oh my God, all my CO2 just ran out and I don't know why overnight, you know? So it's better to be proactive and replace your O-rings no matter what once a year. All right. How do you make your O-rings last longer? There are ways to help ensure that they do last the entire year. One is keg lube. Now, I did a video on this way back. You search my YouTube videos. There's a search, by the way, if you didn't know that, in every YouTube page. You can search for lube. I hate to say it, but I'm sure that word is in the title, and you'll find at least one video of mine called Keg Lube where I compare two different kinds. There's the kind that I got originally with my actual keg that's very, very thick, and you can't wash it off. Basically, you put it on your O-rings and whatnot, and then you have to really get hot water and soap, and it's very hard to wash it off your hands, which I guess is kind of the point. But you also just don't want to have to deal with getting that stuff off your hands, and it's when you're trying to just clean the O-rings and take them off and clean them, that's also annoying when it's just caked on there and you can't get it off. That's the standard. There is another kind of keg lube. I should have looked it up before this video. It's in that one. Like I said, if you search for my videos, gosh, I can't think of the name of it. It's got a C in the name, maybe. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The point is, it's a much thinner material. Also, it came in a bigger tube, but you get more of it. But it's washable, kind of. It's not as the regular keg lube is thicker than even Vaseline. It's just really hard to work with. Anyway, so number one, to make your rings last longer, keg lube. Number two, remove them and clean them. After every beer, you should be taking apart all your parts. I know people don't, but you should. Usually what happens is somebody will go, okay, it's been 6 months, it's been 8 months. I'm going to take my tap apart, or I'm going to take my keg posts apart. And then when they do, it's just black and nasty. And so, don't wait for that. I'm not saying you have to clean it that vigorously every single beer, but 2 to 3 beers maybe, it depends. I'm just saying that it builds up, so don't postpone it. You want your beer to taste good. You don't want that nastiness, so keep it clean and sanitized. Number 3, how to keep your keg rings, O-rings lasting longer. Avoid heat. They are various types of rubber material or whatever, or synthetic material. So heat is just not a good thing to have around your O-rings. So try to avoid heat. And as I already said, number 4, be proactive, right? Don't wait until you have a full failure. Replace them on a regular schedule, so hopefully you don't end up with a full failure. That's why you have your car maintenance done regularly, right? Because you don't want to have to break down on the road somewhere. You're trying to be proactive to have what you need done ahead of time so that your car remains in good running condition. Number 5, don't keep a ton of spares. That may seem counterintuitive, all right? Right? If your O-ring fails, you need a spare. So you think, well, I'm going to keep some spares around. Well, don't. Because they break down just over time. Not as quickly, but they break down. So it's not really a good idea to keep a bunch of spares. You might want to keep one set as an emergency, right? So that if you had an O-ring that failed, but you caught it in time, and you didn't lose all your CO2 or anything, you have a spare you can put on there for now. But in general, because they continue to break down, even in the bag, whatever, not sure keeping a spare set for an entire year is necessarily a good idea. Even if you're not actively using them, they're still breaking down. Interesting hazy beer here. There's a certain hop in some of these hazies that doesn't taste good to me. I don't like it. It's kind of, I don't want to say cheesy, but it's not a nice flavor. And what I need to do is start maybe doing some smash beers with just the hops that are in these. I don't know if this tells me what's in it. Juicy, tropical, smooth. Yeah, this doesn't say what hops they use. But there's definitely a hop that doesn't agree with me. Anyway, types of O-rings. Let's talk about types of O-rings. There are different types you can buy. Now, back in the day, this was the original kind that you could get. They were called EPDM. All right? EPDM were really good with Star San and PBW and had a really long life. And frankly, they are the best overall option for O-rings. EPDM. That's really what you should be buying if you can afford it. The next kind that you can buy are called nitrile. I think they're called nitrile. They're Buna N, Buna-N, Buna N nitrile. They are very common. They're cheap, a lot cheaper than the EPDM, and they're fine for normal use. But if you want something, here's my problem. if you go from having O-rings that are good to fail and there's no in between, you'd really want to try to spend the money if you can on the best one, so that you're not, that's not a part you want to skimp on, right? All right, another kind of material they use sometimes is silicone. Now, silicone is very soft. You can tell by silicone tubing that we use, right? It's soft. It's easy to, it is easy to seal because it sort of squeezes down, but it wears down faster. Silicone doesn't last as long. So silicone, not the best option out there, really, for an O-ring. There's also a kind that we really don't need in homebrewing called Viton or Viton. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. Viton. This one is really overkill for homebrewing. It's really just, it's really only needed if you're using really harsh chemicals. If you're using caustic cleaner in your lines, that like you have a brew pub or something, that's maybe a different story. Anyway, no matter what you choose, you always want to make sure what you choose is food grade, because obviously you're putting food type stuff through it. All right, so here's the next question: refurbished or used keg? Right now, I kind of talked about this already. But if you get a used keg, you absolutely have to replace all the O-rings, because you don't know how long have they been on there, what state are they in. You can't just tell by looking. You can get an idea, but you really can't tell just by looking. So the best practice is if you get a used keg, replace all the O-rings. All right, that's all I'm going to talk about as far as used kegs, because I already kind of explained it. I have a video on that. Here's a tip. Set a reminder specific to a date that you have every year. So unless you've got a calendar or a spreadsheet or something you're doing like that, just change your O-rings like every daylight savings time. That happens the same day every year until maybe they get rid of it. But at the moment, you could use that day as the day, daylight savings time. That's when I'm going to change my O-rings. Not that day, but that's the day you go, okay, I need to schedule the time to do it. Don't forget about your poppets. Poppet. Yeah. So the internal universal poppet O-rings. You know what I'm talking about? Whether you're using ball lock or pin lock, you have poppets in them. They have the springs in it. All right. So you need to change those as well. You should remember the inside, those O-rings that are inside your poppets touch every ounce of beer that's poured. So not only should you be cleaning that and sanitizing that after, really every beer is the best practice, but pretty often, make sure you change those along with your regular O-rings. Change all of your O-rings, not just like the posts, okay? All right, let's talk about one last thing here. I'm probably way over time, but Kegland has these new types of O-rings. Now, I believe, from what I could tell, they are only for the lid of a standard corny keg, the lid. They're not for the poppets or the posts or anything like that. That being said, here's what they found. They found that the standard O-rings that you use on the lid allow a lot of oxygen into your beer that they did not know before. Kegland has kind of a lab that they test stuff in. And so they came up with a new kind of material to use that was, it keeps out a lot more oxygen. So let's go through this. Number one is, where can you get it? Well, I found it for sale here in the U.S. anyway. Williams Brewing has it on their website. So does More Beer. You'd have to look and see what the price is. They are called low to keg lids, O-rings, low to keg O-rings. LOW, low, the number 2, keg O-ring. All right, these low 2 rings, right? They provide a better oxygen barrier than the silicone ones that we normally have on our kegs. Remember I told you silicone O-rings break down faster than almost any other ones. Most kegs are fitted with what we call nitrile O-rings. Remember I talked about that as well. It's better than the silicone, but silicone was the next move in O-rings after nitrile, but they wear out faster, they're squishy, they allow a lot of oxygen to get in that you don't realize. Okay, So here's a myth for you. According to Kegland, kegs that are under pressure do not stop oxygen ingress through the lid with an O-ring. Believe it or not, oxygen can permeate that O-ring. So here's another myth. CO2 being heavier will keep the oxygen out. I've talked about this many times, and a lot of people, even after I talk about it, don't believe me. I'm not making it up. Even Kegland in their lab has tested this. Yes, CO2 is heavier than oxygen. No, that does not mean that having a blanket of CO2 in the space above your beer will keep oxygen out. These are from the people that work in the lab that are scientists. This is what they say, and I'm just paraphrasing here, but basically we're talking about molecular level, right? The atoms are, for oxygen and carbon, they're so tiny and so small. When you look at them at that level, there's lots of space between them. It's not like they're rubbing up. It's not like a wall of CO2 and a wall of oxygen. There is a lot of space between those atoms, and they can very easily pass by each other. There's not like a barrier, right? So keep that in mind. Like if you're adding stuff to your keg and you're just opening it, CO2 is not a great barrier to keep oxygen out. All right. I'm not saying it doesn't help, but it is not like the all-seeing barrier. It's not like the white wall, in Game of Thrones or anything. All right. So same thing with your O-ring on the top of your keg. Just because you have CO2 in the top of your keg, it's not going to keep oxygen from getting in and affecting your beer. So, oxygen permeability. As I was saying before, oxygen literally absorbs into the O-ring itself, not around it, not like through gaps. It literally absorbs into your O-ring and then back out the other side inside your keg into your beer. Yeah. So what are the new O-rings made of? Well, you'll have to look up the scientific, what it really is, because I don't know, but I did some digging, and I did have to actually do some digging to find this. It is a unique composition of synthetic M-class and cross-link elastomers. That's all I can tell you. I don't know more. I don't work for Kegland. I don't work in their lab. But it is definitely some other kind of material than what we've been using in the past. And it is, I think it's kind of yellow colored, which is kind of gross. But anyway, the nice thing about them, it is a 96% reduction in oxygen ingress compared to a silicone O-ring that's measured inside the keg. That's huge. That's a huge reduction. So if you're worried about that and you're using a corny keg, I would spend the money on it. I'm not using a corny keg. I'm using the all-rounder. But anyway, so that's all I have to say. I've spent too much time talking about it anyway. The moral of the story is change your O-rings like once a year and clean them every few beers, please. All right. I'll see you in a week for another brew chat here or some kind of video. And until then, happy brewing. Cheers.